Ladies and gentlemen out there, this is Artie Lang. This is disgusting. Everybody's too nice now. We're all so nice, aren't we? But the thing is, we're not nice. Secretly, we're mean. That's essentially the show. It is funny. I cannot be a bigger just blob of nothingness and negativity. Party time! You want to get a little limbo dance going? Come on, I'll do it. The third person at the table was the bottom of my stomach. With hair and paleness and stretch marks. American nightmare. Wait like a spider. And this talks about every controversial subject you can imagine.
Shock jock Artie Lang on Media Day. Can't be with that sweet stuff. Nah.
Smack the sugar right out of you. Hey, welcome to The Breakfast Show. Artie Lang here. Artie.Quitter.Podcast show number 2, episode number 2. I'm here with Joe Matarese. Everyone else that was in the room yesterday is gone. Apparently they had shit to do. Chris Cotton is not here. He claims he has a busy week. I don't think he wants to get up this early. I think we've lost Chris Cotton after one day.
I still love that it's 1 o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock.
That's early.
Right, it's 1 o'clock and it's too early for Chris Cotton. Apparently, Chris has other things to do because I don't know. Chris is one of those comics where a lot of young comics they have mysterious lives. You don't know what the fuck they do. He's living in Philly part time. He's married, but you never see his wife. He's got an apartment somewhere in New York that he crashes in on a futon, but now he's happy because someone's leaving the apartment for a month, so he's going to get a bed for a month. Yesterday he left. I was under the impression he was going to be here every day this week, and he said to me as he was leaving yesterday, I said, so I'll see you tomorrow. He goes, nah, man, I got to Philly. I said, what? Yeah, I got to Philly. I said, what do you mean you got to Philly? He goes, I'm in Philly the rest of the week. I'll be here maybe Thursday. And I really think he was groggy. I think he was very upset about the early... When did you think we were going to do this at 10 p.m.?
Well, I booked him on my podcast, and I don't want to show
Joe Matarese, by the way. Joe shows up.
Yeah, so I book him for the Fixing Joe podcast that I do every Thursday.
That's right.
And he just missed it. I don't want to shit on Chris. He's a really nice, great guy. Didn't know if he was someone I could trust was going to show up. I booked him a certain time, and I'm looking at my watch. He's not here. Yeah, I contact him, and I could tell I woke him up at noon. Now,
do you think this is bad for the black community? Chris's behavior.
It's not good. It's not good.
I mean, work ethic is something he needs to work on. Now, I have a terrible work ethic myself. I'm the blackest white guy I know, actually. But Chris is very funny, and we hope that, it's not a time issue. We hope that he's able to come in because he was good. Got a lot of good feedback on the show yesterday on Twitter. Twitter was, as they say in the world of hip-hop, blowing up.
Yeah. What was the best one we had on Twitter, would you say? Do you remember a specific comment?
Get rid of Joe. Who the fuck is Joe M? I love the real Joe Matarese.
Those were in my show notes. That was on Twitter.
Yeah, well, it was, that's Dan Filato, by the way, the great Chicago Dan Filato. No, you know what a lot of people said? They weren't general compliments. People really listen and like it when they're specific. So they had specific stories. People loved the Pepper Johnson.
I saw somebody wrote something about Pepper Johnson.
And
they laughed out and spit up their coffee
laughing. And that's what you love to hear as a comedian. And of course, the Chris Christie stuff, which is back in the news. Before I get to Chris Christie, though, Joe did a really touching, thoughtful, but the gayest thing I've ever seen in my life. Joe brought a white erase board. What is this?
It's a dry erase board.
It's a dry erase board.
You got to have one of those for a podcast with colors.
So you think we're going to write the subjects down on this, and then Dan's going to hold them up, and I'm going to get to each one? Is that what you do on yours?
Don't you remember when you watched Johnny Carson do he would kind of do that? He was amazing at the glance.
He has cue cards.
Yeah, right. Well,
but I don't have 15 jokes at a time.
No, I don't mean jokes. Just like, do you know, like the first 50, I know, like on my podcast, I'm going to talk about The Bachelor and my wife making me watch the first episode. I don't want to say, I write shit like, I don't write the joke.
I don't want to say I'm more talented than you, or more intelligent, but I can remember everything I'm going to. I don't. Listen, I do have some index cards I write shit down on. But I'll tell you what, the dry erase board is so gay. It is just like, so what would we write down? So
you don't use a Sharpie on it. He's using a Sharpie on it.
What are you doing, Dan? What are you yelling at?
That was a Sharpie.
So big deal.
That won't wipe off.
Dan, you yelled like I was killing your puppy.
Joe spent a lot of money on that erase board.
That's actually mine. I didn't buy one. That's mine.
I'll give you $10. Get 3 more.
That's been through 100 podcasts.
Okay, so I can't use a Sharpie.
See how that doesn't come off.
Oh, okay. Shit. Now I feel guilty.
It's all right.
We got Clorox or something.
Don't worry about it.
All right. But so you use one of these.
Yeah.
So I would write down Chris Christie's baloney tits.
Yeah. Right. You guys are writing that down right now.
I have terrible
Chris Christie's baloney tits.
Bologna tits.
Right. So you know all the topics in your head?
No, I'm
Do you really?
I'm bullshitting. I just don't want to use a dry erase board because I honestly, and this is closed-minded, but I feel a lot of people in my family would question my sexuality. Now you don't have that problem because you have an open-minded Philadelphia Italian family.
Well, like episode 1, when I was listening to it back, I think at the beginning of the episode you mentioned, you're gambling again.
I am gambling,
and then you said we'll get to that later. And
I brought up gambling.
It came back later.
Yeah, where the fuck were you?
I remember it later, but never like its own segment.
I gave my lock of the week.
Yeah,
which, by the way, this is all legal gambling. I'll explain the gambling.
How is that legally done?
I got a guy in Vegas. I have my two favorite sports books in Vegas are the Mirage and Mandalay Bay. Mandalay Bay is just fantastic.
Love it.
Oh, the smoking hot broads around serving you drinks.
Don't they have like a topless pool there?
Yeah. Well, they do, right? They have anything a man would like. They don't have any dry erase board. There's not one dry erase board in the fucking place. But there's really hot young chicks, like Prince Andrew age chicks, Jeffrey Epstein type broads, and they're running around giving you drinks. And I do a joke about this in my act. Every possible thing you could bet on is up on that fucking board. There is a line, like I say in my act, 2 kids playing wiffle ball in Minnesota. You could get a line on it, and you just sit back and you drink. And in the old days, I'd have an 8-ball on me, and I go in the bathroom and do that. That was practically legal. You could just do that in front of people, as long as you kept to yourself. And you bet the games while you're coked up and drunk. I mean, and a hot chick is serving you drinks, and again, a $10,000 whore. I've gotten a few of those in Vegas. You know what a $10,000 whore looks like? A young Carmen Electra. You don't need a Carmen Electra if you got 10 G's in Vegas. You just get a fucking chick who looks like her. And she doesn't bitch or moan, and she's not, talking about her career and how she wants to act more. She just fucks you and leaves. I want to thank my mother and sister for listening, by the way.
Do they listen?
Yeah, they listen.
Are they listening?
They listened yesterday. When I say stuff like that, my mother's like, okay, up to your old tricks. So I decided, because I'm trying to be good with everything else, I needed some action. People said, why'd you fall off the wagon? I needed some juice, man. I did. I wanted to do something wrong.
Well, you should know my psychologist wife is on board with you gambling.
Why is that? She thinks it'll keep me away from other things?
I told her that, I said, I was looking at Artie's tweets. He's obviously gambling. I guess he, that's his new vice. And she goes, he needs something.
Yeah.
She didn't have a problem with it.
Well, I think, that I don't know how to react to that because I have this theory that your wife doesn't like me.
She does. And, she brought it up recently.
That
because she was talking about how a lot of comics, because we did a New Year's Eve gig at Mohegan Sun, and I'm working with this comic Kevin Flynn, and she goes, I liked him. He really looks at you, he's like a good guy. I could just tell. He looks at you and he talks, and I felt like he cared about me when I was in the room. And she goes, as much as Artie, I know, probably thinks I don't he always thinks that I don't like him. She goes, but I really like Artie.
I think she finds me obnoxious.
She doesn't.
I think she's condescending towards me.
Really? No, you don't.
Well, she's very smart, and I don't know. I think she sort of looks at me like she's laughing at me, not with me.
But you're known to think things that people aren't thinking in your own brain.
I guess
she really does like you.
But so I decided to myself, but doing it illegally can just get you in a lot of bad situations because. The biggest hell with gambling, the way you can get in a lot of trouble is if you have a bookie where you don't have to lay out the money. All you got to do is pick up a phone and go, give me $5,000 on, the Bengals. And you don't have to lay out the money. And all of a sudden you're either up or down it. And if with the VIG, it's 100 for every grand, you either win 5,000 or you lose 5,500, a VIG being tax for losing. So that gets very scary. So I went to, do it legally. So I got a guy that I know that lives in Vegas that can go to Mandalay Bay and puts bets down for me and on tickets or at the Mirage.
Now, is there ever a time where he thinks you said one thing and he does the bet wrong?
That's never happened.
Never.
That's never happened. I'll tell you, me and Norm, when we were doing the Norm show, the sitcom I did with Norm Macdonald, there were interns there. These poor kids, they'd be like fresh out of UCLA for like 2 weeks. They get a job interning on a big time sitcom. And the night of a taping, Norm and I would send them to Vegas. These guys have no money. They'd have a Toyota Celica that was like, 20 years old. And we'd give them like 80 grand. And we'd give them all these bets. And, we want this -2, Knicks -3. We want parlay this, parlay that. We would bet on U.S. Open golf, like all this complicated shit. And these poor kids would have to fucking remember it. And we would send them to Vegas, a 4-hour trip in the desert. Sometimes in the middle of a taping, they'd call us up and they'd go, I think I screwed up. And a couple of times they did screw up.
Really?
And we would get very mad at them. And it wasn't their fault.
So that's before the guy. You didn't have this guy.
No. This is well before that. This is like 15 years ago. So this guy is a guy I trust. And he knows what he's doing.
So when I want to make bets, you can tell me the guy.
It's not a lot of bets. Oh, yeah. You need a guy.
I've never had a guy.
Well, a bookie.
I know what it is.
But no, this is not a bookie. This is not a bookie. It's a friend of mine who goes to Mandalay Bay and puts a bet down.
Yeah, he lives in Vegas?
And he holds the ticket. And I either send him money if I... he lives in Vegas.
Right, that's perfect.
Yeah, lives in Vegas. So having a guy is a term I use for a bookie.
Right.
You've never had a bookie?
Well, it's like... I'm going to name drop because his father also.
Yeah.
Mike... We won't say his last name, but he lives in Puerto Rico now, working for his father, and you know his father. And
I know his father?
Bazile.
Who? Yeah, sure.
So I'm having dinner with him.
Yeah, very good friend of ours.
I'm having dinner with him.
Right.
And he lives in Puerto Rico 8 months a year now. And
Michael does?
Yeah, and he's telling me that when you're in Puerto Rico, they don't have like fresh like things like you think they would because they're in Puerto Rico. You think you'd get the best fish in the world. You're in Puerto Rico. He goes, no, they have no import.
Depends on where you go. You get a good nice kiwi.
He said that he has to have a guy.
A guy gets some fish.
He has a guy fishing. The guy goes, he gives him his cell number. He goes, if you get a good one, a good nice fish, text me and I'll come and buy the fish off you.
Well, for $5 American, I'm sure you could get anything you want.
For $20, he gets a huge snapper and he can make like 5 dinners out of it.
One time I was in Cancun, Mexico, when I was doing a lot of blow, and they have cabs that are like little green Chevettes, and I told his cabbie, I said, I got to get some Coke. So he takes me to downtown Cancun. Like there was laundry hanging outside the people's like adobe hut we were at. Literally, they were living in an adobe hut. And I bought this awful cocaine, but an 8-ball I paid in pesos. I think I paid $4 for an 8-ball or something. But then you tipped I think I accidentally tipped a cabbie $400 once. I didn't understand the money process. But in those places like Puerto Rico or Mexico, it is scary learning the money system.
So how many different guys do you... I just ADD'd in the middle of your story.
No, that's
Did
all right.
I cut you off?
No, that's fine.
You sure?
Yeah, that's fine.
Positive.
Yeah. No, I was
How
gone.
many guys do you have for different things, would you say? I have a guy for
I don't
like...
know. This is not a... Again, this is
I'm just curious
perfectly legal.
I'm not saying illegal.
There's one guy.
I'm saying like my father-in-law
I
has
don't
a tree
have
guy. He has a plumber. He has a guy. Whenever I go, I hired a plumber. He goes, you just shouldn't use that guy.
All I have
a
is
guy.
Dan. All I have is
And
Dan.
I guarantee you he's not going to ask me about betting because he asked me the other night. I said, explain it to me, and I couldn't because I know nothing about
Well, you
betting.
didn't know what an under-over was.
Really? And you're like an insane sports fan. I would think you just know because you're a fan.
But, I mean, you don't to be an Italian guy from Chicago, not to know what an under-over was.
That's obvious.
I mean, you're looking a little flimsy from where I'm at.
Yeah.
No, but I'm
I
saying...
just did not understand the concept of giving my hard-earned money to someone else.
No!
On chance.
Not doing it or not doing it is one thing, and I respect not doing it. You're much more together than I am. Don't fuck. Okay? You win. You win. I'm a loser.
Yeah,
I get it.
You're much richer than I am.
Well, if the Seattle doesn't cover, that's going to change.
So,
but you know, not to know what an under-over is, it's the number. It's and he thought there were odds, blah blah blah. It's like talking to a broad. But Danny is my one guy who handles everything. Danny lives with me now.
I know.
And Danny saved my life. Danny nursed me back. I had suffered from pancreatitis. Which will happen if you take 100 Percocet a day, by the way. Health tip from Marty Lang. I was suffering from pancreatitis, and Danny nursed me back to health. So now Danny lives with me. A year ago this time, I was living with a 9.5 blonde. And now I live with Dan for life. But listen, I'm a fuck up, and like other important, wonderful things in my life, the blonde walked out the door. Uh-huh. That's what happens. I loved her to death, and she wised the fuck up. A lot of people in my life wise the fuck up. Dan eventually will wise the fuck up. He'll get out of here. Yeah. But Danny knows he doesn't know anything about gambling. But he knows everything about everything else, technical shit.
He's insane. He fixed my iPhone on the way up to your gig in Boston. He fixed the whole thing.
I feel, Dan, that's his way of making friends. Like, me and you have to be funny.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, none of us are cool sitting here, so we have to do something to make friends. You and I have to be fun. Well, now, you're hipper. You're a cool guy, Joe. I've always felt I needed to be funny to make friends. Dan fixes people's iPhones. Is that a good assessment?
Is that true, Dan?
I fix a lot of people's iPhones.
And that's how you become their friend.
But I'm not like a tech guy.
But he just self-taught. He makes an awesome cappuccino.
Does he really?
Yeah.
You want me to make you one, Joe?
Yeah.
Do you drink caffeine? Because I figure
I drink caffeine.
You might be a type that...
And Selma, my Mexican maid, who's going to be here soon.
She's coming during the podcast.
Who I would marry. If she wasn't married, I'd marry this person.
Really? She's pretty?
No. But
but she just cleans the hell.
I don't want her to hear that. What's the Mexican word for no? Oh, no.
See, no.
But she's very sweet, and she was probably pretty back in the 60s. But I love her to death, and she's very perceptive, and she loves me so much. She a well-placed C note will make a Mexican do that. She really loves me, and before I went in the hospital for pancreatitis, I was like crying in her arms. She was like, "Oh, Artie, you'll be okay. I love you, Artie. I worked for you for a long time. You're a very good person." And she could tell that my mother kind of didn't like my fiance. And she was perceptive, and she didn't say a word about it ever, but she just sees what goes on here. And so when my fiance left, I said, she goes, "Oh, she leave," because she saw the pictures were down. I said, "Yeah," and she went, "You mommy happy."
How could she tell? It was obvious that your mom didn't like her?
Dan, does my mother do things in an obvious way?
Yes.
Very obvious.
What did she do?
When she's screaming at the top of her lungs. No, listen, my mother has gone through hell. My mother's the toughest, classiest woman ever. And, she takes that out on people that sometimes don't deserve it, I feel, because she's been through so much. And I've put her through hell, and my father put her through. And no one's tougher than my mom. She's just like the toughest, classiest, most wonderful woman. And I think she misunderstood my fiance a little bit.
Well, I think moms just know sometimes. They know when it's not the right match.
But you see, my fiance was a wonderful, wonderful
But
person.
that doesn't mean she was the right match for you, just because she's a wonderful person.
Why are you fucking arguing with me?
I'm saying I had nice girlfriends before my wife, but
Joe,
my mom did this
I've met
thing.
some of your
Joe, you'd be not nice to them.
You arguing this is not on the erase board.
No, listen. No, but it's just the way. It's the way my mother says. It's the way. Someone said, "Oh, she," because someone knew how much I loved Adrian. I loved her to death. Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful girl. She could cook too. She was just a doll. Just her smile just made me melt, and it made me feel good. It made me want to get up and do things. But Salma was very perceptive, and she said, "Oh, did she leave?" I go, "Yeah." And she went. She was trying to think of something positive in the hell, and after a second of pausing, she smiled and went, "To mommy happy." And I said, "Yeah, I guess so."
So you could write these catchphrases that we're learning.
But I think
yesterday it was the catchphrase was the carnival, whatever that one was.
Pepper Johnson.
No, the guy.
Oh, carnival.
Carnival. What was it? Carnival.
Carnival. You never heard of carnivore?
Yeah, carnivore. But you said it. Who was that saying?
Chub Rock. Chub Rock.
That was the catchphrase.
Chub Rock said, "You
got
got any food for carnivores up on that motherfucker?" But now here's the problem. I think Selma might be thinking I'm testing out the other side with Dan. I think. I think she, because again,
I'm sure she thinks that.
Being Mexican and being from a religious family where she doesn't understand this, two guys living together. I think she's kind of like, Danny, friend. I think, Are
you guys going to stay roommates, or what's the plan?
No, I'm looking for a place.
You're looking for a place.
Well,
you sure?
He's not exactly doing that at the quickest pace.
He's got a free Artie Lang pad.
No, I want him. I don't want him to leave. This guy is he's a fantastic person.
It's got to be kind of lonely being in the Artie Lang house alone every day.
What do you mean?
You got to get a dog or something.
What do you mean, for me?
For you, when he leaves, you're going to just be alone with this view.
I hate dogs. I don't want a fucking dog.
Parrot.
There's too many dogs.
Get a parrot.
Yeah, parrot.
Like Beretta.
When he was in the hospital, I brought his sister's dogs over here and put him all in spots that he would not like in the house. I took pictures and sent it to him. Get out of the hospital quick.
Well, I just don't like a dog possibly shedding hair all over the fucking place. I don't like to eat a sandwich next to a dog because there might be dog hair in it.
I'm the same way. I'm not a dog person.
Dogs either.
I don't like.
You
them
sat at a table with Mike Boschetti and you're worried about a dog's germs?
I used to do a joke that my old girlfriend, who was almost a fiance too, Dana, lived with me, and she wanted a dog badly. And I used to do a joke in my act that she hated, because hot chicks hate when you refer to them. Definitely using the bathroom. Or just refer to them.
I thought referring in your stand-up, they never liked
it. She said, "Can we get a dog?" And I said, "Honey, I get grossed out when you shit in my apartment." She was like, I came off stage after she heard that for the first time at Zany's in Vernon Hills, Illinois, with the biggest look on her face. Like, I thought she'd be happy. She's like, what is with the dog joke? How dare you bring up that I go to the bathroom? Well, I mean, you're human. You're a human being.
My wife's the same way. I can't acknowledge it in the house, and I've been married to her for 10 years. If I go, ugh, what is that? You shit.
When you date when you date a hot chick, you never see them or hear them shit. Like, I heard Dan shitting once. It was so
No, he did not.
Dude.
No, he did not.
It sounded like the scene in Godfather when James Caan gets shot. Including the screaming. And including the kick in the head at the end. Dude, my God. You were like it was a motorboat.
That is so untrue, Joe.
I'm like, Dan, did you start a motorboat?
Because now I'm not. If we ever have to go up to Boston again, he's not going to let me use the bathroom in his house.
No, I get we have 2 full bathrooms.
Yeah, you have your own bathroom here.
Yeah, no, that's huge. That's huge with a broad, too, when you're dating a chick. That's huge. That to me, is the key to a long-term relationship. Or Chris Cotton being on your podcast in 2 separate bathrooms.
Guess what? This is annoying that my wife, she took the door off the master bathroom.
Why?
When we first moved into the house.
Why?
Because she thought there wasn't enough light coming in.
So
when the door was open, it would block the window.
So you could see her shitting?
Both of us. Like, we have other toilets in our house.
Well, yeah, so you use those.
But every once, you want to shit in your master bathroom.
I would drop an extra I agree with you. Nothing like a home field shit, man. And let me tell you, there's nothing like a home field shit. But I would drop an extra $600 a night at a fucking Ritz-Carlton to have a separate bathroom.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hear her, if she hears me shitting. Like seeing me with my shirt off is enough for a broad to leave. She ever heard me shitting? What goes on there?
Well, I will shit in a different bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, that nightmare. Could you imagine, what goes on when I shit? That's why, when Dan is in the other, and when I see the bathroom door closed, I'm like, I don't know what's going on in there, but it's terrible. And I had orange towels down the shore, and he clearly wiped his ass with them.
That is not true.
They look like the Bengals helmets.
That is not true.
That's a good one. He's definitely used that one before. That's an Artie repeat.
You could tell. Joe knows.
That's a hilarious. I've never heard it,
Thank you for pointing it out.
Where did you do it on stage?
I haven't done that on
That's
stage.
funny.
I haven't done that on stage.
The Bengals helmet. My son would love it because it's a shit joke and a helmet. Kids love shit jokes.
By the way,
Hilarious
congratulations on your son being heterosexual. Like shit jokes. I've told Joe this before. Congratulations. Not because I don't like gay people, because it's a harder life for them.
Right.
It is. It's very difficult.
You actually, I think you made me edit that out of a podcast.
What?
I told the story of you on speakerphone in my car, and my son was out loud going, "Look at that Corvette! Oh, that's a cool color!"
Yeah.
And you said, "Congratulations!"
No, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it on your podcast.
No, you said, "I don't like that out there. It's bad."
No, but on
press
your
for
podcast,
me.
no one's going to hear it. I don't mind it. I'm kidding. Well, talk about fixing Joe. Yeah, you've been doing that a long time. Right?
Yeah, I've been doing it.
Actually, Adrian and I were both guests on that at one point.
I know.
Together, and I've been on it like 5 or 6 times.
I reissued a couple of your episodes recently.
Well, where's my royalty?
It's amazing that it bumps my numbers up a lot. Like reissuing old ones that people may have missed that are your new Twitter followers.
That's because of the great Howard Stern and his following, not because of me. I mean, I was lucky enough to be. I mean, for a stand-up comic, I think about getting on Howard Stern. What a jackpot that is for a stand-up comedian. But that's what that's about.
That's what this is going to be, though.
No, this is fun, guys. I mean, again, what we just talked for 20 minutes. This is nothing but fun. And again, I want to thank everybody for the kind comments on Twitter. And for all the people who signed up yesterday, we had a boatload of people that signed up yesterday after hearing the show and liking it. And it's just really touching because it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's a total of about $82 a year. But I understand, guys, I'm not mocking you. I understand it's not about the money. It's about having an extra bill in your life that you don't fucking need. I'm doing a radio. You don't want to pay for radio. And when you look at me, paying for anything I do is probably disconcerting because I'm just a fat slob. But so the people that have signed up already and are going to sign up, just thank you so much. It's fucking... Honestly, it's touching. It's touching when they do that. Like they're welcoming me into their life. Like I'm willing to pay whatever it is to hear you spew opinions.
It's amazing.
Joe, your thoughts?
It's amazing that when you get those, because I do donations on my podcast.
Now, we'll explain that. What do you mean?
Well, it's not. It doesn't. It's different. I do it once a week.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of sponsors, but the sponsors don't give me direct cash.
Right.
Some of these podcasts are huge, so they can charge money, and the more listeners you get.
Corolla and Marin, they don't charge. It's all. But do they do the donation thing as well?
Well, they do charge. But they have something called a premium membership.
Right.
Where you can listen to their last 50 episodes for free. But if you want to be able to access the whole library,
right,
you have to become a premium member, and you get this premium app.
Okay.
You can listen to every episode they've ever done.
All right.
Okay, so he does that.
Okay.
And then he has sponsors, and you hear a lot of reoccurring ones.
Well, sure. I mean, that they have. We have interest in some sponsors have shown some interest. In
but with the podcast, they look directly at your numbers. It's different than radio. They can go. They want to see, like, if I don't know who hosts your podcast, but they'll get your hosting company.
We have one, right?
Yes. Right. You have to, because that's how it's on the internet.
I'm a terrible host, unless I have a virus. Then I'm a great host, according to the doctor.
But they can look at your numbers, and that's how you make money from them. They'll go, okay, Sometimes they'll give you, this is how much we're giving you if you get this many downloads. This is what you're getting. They'll give you numbers.
Now, do you ever beg like on public television or NPR where you have a phone?
Like
please call in now.
Like Mark Simone.
Donate money.
Well, my donations, I give them free stuff for their donation. They donate $20. They get 2 CDs for free and a pair of these earbuds.
They get your CDs?
Yeah, they get 2 of my CDs. One's an all heckler CD. Just me yelling at donations.
Joe is a hilarious comedian.
Well, a lot of your fans know me from opening for you, and that's where they know me.
Those aren't the best
stuff.
examples of what I'm saying. But I'm saying.
No, I noticed that your fans like me when I do stand-up, but they don't necessarily like me on podcasts. Because I'm not like...
No, dude, don't listen to the people who give you shit, because they're just saying it.
I'm not...
They would say that to anybody unless it's like Dave Chappelle sitting here. They just want to be negative. They were so pissed off that they liked the show. They said, how do I say something fucking negative? That's what they wanted to do. So they're like, I'll make fun of Joe for not being an A-list celebrity.
No, but they didn't...
Meanwhile,
but they didn't slam me. They said all nice stuff on that.
Oh, you didn't see the whole thing.
But someone said it, and I even laughed at Joe Matarese once, and I was like, oh, thanks, buddy. But I know that I'm finally long enough in show business to know I'm not a hilarious fucking entity like off stage, okay? I'm more of a serious talker guy.
You don't need to be.
You don't
need to be honest.
I feel like this is the Artie Lang podcast. I'm here to just make a springboard for you.
You're teeing it up and I'm hitting it.
Yes. That's what you do. You're good at it.
I mean, I don't know. But I think you're good at both. I think you're very fun.
I'm hard on myself. I think they do like me when I do like James Gandolfini and Harry Callis impressions on your stuff. That's what they like from me.
You do a great Harry Callis.
They only want Harry Callis and James Gandolfini and Stallone. Like, that's all they want.
What is why are you saying break already? What time? How long have we done?
31 minutes
already.
And I thought I could make you and Joe a cappuccino.
Well, I want to get.
Oh, let's do the cappuccino. Definitely.
I'm hoping the Mexican maid gets here. I'm hoping someone, because I'd like to interview her. And again, so the catchphrases, Joe, so far, we got any food for carnivores up in this motherfucker? And Jumami happy.
Jumami happy.
Well, I do want to talk about this. Chris Christie, the baloney-titted trader, as he'll be known on this fucking show. BTT, baloney-titted trader.
People did tweet they want you to say cunt more, and you said it when you talked about him yesterday. So throw some cunts in here.
He is a cunt. And look at him talking to Desmond Bryan, and he looks like he's sexually attracted to these Cowboy players. He looks like he'd blow Des Bryant. He really does. He looked like Des Bryant probably has titty fucked those baloney tits. And Jerry Jones looks creepy. He's just creepy. The whole thing's creepy. But anyway, this comes out. Chris Christie is like an old-time corrupt politician. Listen to this. Chris Christie pushed Port Authority to give contract to Jerry Jones' firm. We were discussing this. Maybe someone knows this out there. What is Jerry Jones? How did he make his fortune? Real estate?
Oil and gas.
Oh, oil and gas. Okay. So he owns a firm that I guess needed a contract in Jersey where Christie would have some power. And
well, now he's branched into hospitality, and I think that the contract is
which
hospitality.
Means whores. Yeah. That's right. Less than 2 years before Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones paid for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie's tickets and travel to NFL games. So he paid for Chris Christie to come. He paid for, I guess, plane tickets. He paid for plane tickets, travel, hotel, and, of course, free tickets to the game. Government documents show Christie personally pushed the Port Authority to approve a lucrative contract for a firm part owned by Jones. Christie nonetheless accepted the gifts from Jones, despite New Jersey ethics rules barring gifts to public officials from persons or entities that those officials deal with, contact, or regulate in the course of official business. So this is, I mean, the conflict of interest. Christie helps out Jerry Jones. Christie happens to be a huge Cowboys fan. From Jersey, and this is what he gets in return. He can't buy his own fucking tickets, this millionaire fatso. He can't fucking buy his own tickets. Joe,
your thoughts? So it's illegal to get comps, to get a free ticket?
No, it's illegal. Listen, I know it doesn't sound like a lot. It's illegal to give a politician anything if you're dealing with him on something. I mean,
what were they dealing with each other on? I have ADD, so
a contract.
Sometimes you have to repeat shit to me. I'll be honest.
You fucking listen.
I'm a bad listener.
A contract that Jerry Jones's firm wanted and needed to make money with was approved by Chris Christie. They needed his approval.
Okay.
Right? And it was pushed through by Chris Christie, much like he pushes through a bologna sandwich, fucking out of his giant ass cheeks.
I think it was something to do with the Freedom Tower. Like the hospitality.
Yeah, well, you got to remember that's where
another business
because
that
you'd say
has.
Jerry Jones. What business does Jerry Jones have in Jersey? That's a good point, Dan. Where Christie gets a lot of pull is the Freedom Tower was a project by the Port Authority, which is Jersey and New York. So Christie has a lot of pull with the Freedom Tower,
right?
Which opens up his spectrum of power like a millionfold. Because guys like Jerry Jones, everybody wants a piece of the Freedom Tower, and Christie's got to approve that shit. You know, Christie has. Matter of fact, the Port Authority is 50-50, New Jersey and New York. Christie has just as much pull and power with that project at the Freedom Tower as New York, as Cuomo does,
right?
As the governor of New York.
So is something going to happen to him because of this? This sounds really dirty.
They're looking into it. Yeah, I mean it is dirty,
but it's so obvious dirty. Like, why did he should have been? Don't go into the box and hug the guy. Like, go sit in the crowd. No one even known.
Don't bring your fucking huge tits into the box.
And that orange sweater. It's all tan.
It's dirtier than his fucking underwear. Could you imagine the skid marks? Could you imagine the skid marks that must be in Chris Christie's underwear after he gets through with that buffet at the Cowboys game? There's got to be a huge fucking buffet that he just snorkels up like a fucking anteater, like a chubby fucking panda, and he just fucking eats it up, and then he probably shits his pants on some level. And it's like I said yesterday, you need the jaws of life to get the underwear out of his ass cheeks, and it's probably filled with shit. And this deal, Joe, as you pointed out, is dirtier.
It's dirtier
than his ass cheek ridden underwear. All right,
worse than the GW Bridge thing.
This is,
and Christie.
I'm saying it is.
Christie walks like a fat guy. Like there are some guys
because he's a fat guy,
but the front part of his body goes one way and the big ass goes another.
See, I'm not a fat guy. This is all from shit living. I was actually an athlete. I weighed $170 till I was 25. This is all from drinking and eating White Castle at 5 a.m. You were a fat guy, right?
Yeah.
You were a fat kid?
Yes.
But you keep yourself, well, you have fat legs. You have those awkward, pale, like the back of your legs.
This will be edited out of the show.
Chris Christie has the what my friend of mine used to say is a
I don't have
penis
fat legs.
You killed my joke.
Joe, we're out of time. What'd you say?
My friend Christie has a penis awning, like he has that like front thing. Like
I have that.
At what weight do you get where you start getting like fat in the abdomen?
I weigh about 287.
You don't have that.
No, I don't have the
you
gunt.
Have the gut.
You're talking about a gunt.
The gunt.
The gunt. I don't have the gunt. You know what I used to do to make Adrian and Dana like me more and think I was sexier? The greatest show ever is my 600-pound life. Did you ever see that about 600-pound people?
No.
It's on the Learning Channel or something, the biggest whore channel on the planet. My 600-pound life, and it's these people who are 600 pounds. They have to cut the fat off of them.
Yeah.
And there's this Indian doctor who does all the operations on the show. He's so funny. He goes, well, we took the test, and let me tell you just have to stop eating. You won't stop eating. We have to walk. We have to do something. He's so frustrated. He goes, you're really, really fat. You're really enormous. You have to eat. You have to stop eating. What are you eating? You're eating cheese. You can't. So he looks so disgusting, and I look like David Beckham compared to him.
Yeah.
So perfect. And sometimes, to try to get Adrian back, sometimes she'll go, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just living my 287-pound life." All right. This was a great 40 minutes. Dan, what are your thoughts on the first 40 minutes of the show?
A lot of editing of Joe stuff. But
no editing.
Joe is perfect for the show.
We love you, Joe.
We love having him here. Joe Matarese is here, of course, because he's white. And Dan
And I got 8 sandwiches because I thought Chris Cotton was coming. So
I saw all the sandwiches. Yeah, I'm excited.
Is that a fat joke? What kind of sandwich you got?
I got all kind in there. He went to King's.
And he got Milano cookies. Thanks. I'm a diabetic. My sugar will be 600 by the end. Again, so Chris Christie clearly doing something wrong. We'll talk more about the Christie thing. I got a couple of stories I want to tell I had some requests for old stories I'd never told because I was afraid to tell them in old venues. I'm not afraid to tell them here. Like I was always afraid to tell the Pepper Johnson story. I got to tell that here. And there's a couple that were requested I might get to when we come back. So we're going to take a quick break, and we love you all. This is the Artie Quitter Podcast. Joe Matarese, Dan Filato, back after this. Hey, welcome back. Second episode, Artie Quitter Podcast. Joe Matarese is with us. Chicago, Dan Filato. Just finishing up the Chris Christie story. He also said, and Joe's an Eagles fan, so this affects you. Again, we're saying, how's this guy going to fucking run for president? He's alienating everybody. He also says Eagles fans are the worst in America. And I got to tell you, whether you agree with that or not, you do not say it out loud.
It's worse than yelling the N-word in Harlem.
No, you do not fuck with Eagles fans.
No, he's done.
I mean, honestly, like, does that offend you? Oh man,
I'm not one of those. I'm a huge Eagles fan. Grew up in South Jersey.
Yeah.
But definitely not as insane as a lot of the Philly fans are that are going to have a humongous attitude about that.
That's it.
I'm not one of those psycho guys that goes to the... I don't give a shit.
But if you say that, you're right. There's certain Eagles fans. That's it. I'm not voting for you. I don't care what the policy is.
Yeah.
I don't, what's going on. I don't care who you're running against. You're not getting my vote because you said that. And listen, I hate to say it, but it's tough to vote for a Cowboys fan from Jersey for me. I think it's a character flaw. I think it's bad parenting. I think it's a defect on some level.
You know what? I agree with you. I did not vote for Hillary Clinton because she would come in to Wrigley Field all the time when she was a senator and say, and First Lady, and say she grew up a Cubs fan. She's always been a Cubs fan. She's a Harry Carey fan. And then when she ran for Senate in New York, she put on a Yankees hat and said, I'm a big Yankees fan.
Well, she's a politician. I mean,
Well, so's Christie.
I wouldn't vote for her. That's not the right one.
I always say if you're going to root for another team, it better not be in the same division. He could have got away with being a Patriots fan. A lot easier than being a Cowboy fan.
Right.
That's a mistake.
Again, he's alienating a lot
I'm saying that because you're saying Yankee Cubs, it's fine.
He's giving away Jersey, basically, because he's South Jersey's all the Eagles fans, and then you got the Cowboy thing. So he's giving away the state of New Jersey.
They had a upheaval in the Philadelphia Eagles front office Friday night Friday really late around 11 p.m. So I figured I'd turn on our buddy Howard Eskin Saturday morning. He does his show from a casino from like 8 to 10 in the morning. I could not understand any callers because they had to be dumped so many times. They would say that, and then you couldn't understand. And Howard would go, I know exactly what you're talking about. But none of us could hear out because they were all getting dumped all the time for swearing.
Right. Philly fans they're animals, definitely.
My favorite footage, it might be from a couple of years ago at a Phillies game. This guy, about 25-year-old guy, drunk off his ass, looks like he's in the middle of a blackout, throws up on a baby, on an infant. That is. Did you ever see that footage?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, my God. You could see the guy starting to, puke. You could tell he's ready to go. And there's a guy in front of him holding on his knee like a 1-year-old kid. And he throws up over the adult's shoulder right on the baby, drenches the kid, and puke. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And the fans around him are laughing.
Ugh. It's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
I mean, no. Not good.
Not good. Not good for him.
I know my brother's not voting for him.
Well, I'm not either, man. I'm with your brother. The Cowboy thing is fucking...
I told you
that's one thing Eagles and Giants fans have in common. We can't stand the Cowboys.
Yeah. There are people that don't care. My wife is one of those people like, that's ridiculous. People are going to not vote because of a sport.
Your wife
She's
is
normal.
Intelligent,
yeah.
Like,
that's stupid. I'm like, it's stupid, but it's going to happen.
It's real. It's America. Because that's the stuff we care about in this country.
Right.
We don't care as much about health care as we do whose fucking team are you rooting for.
Right. I mean, I can't. I've done dumb shit in my comedy career that have affected work, but I didn't have a team of guys telling me what not to say. Come on.
Forget it. Jesus, I just recently, I guess I might as well, I just had this controversy of I told a joke based on the I Can't Breathe thing, and the Twitter thing. The joke was... these protesters with the I Can't Breathe shirts. I said, and they're chanting, I can't breathe. I said, I was having sex with a black chick recently, and in the middle of it, she yelled out, I can't breathe. And I said, can we leave politics out of this? And she said, no, you're on me. I actually can't breathe. And, it got like a big laugh. It got, almost a 5-minute laugh into like an applause. And on Twitter, forget it. It was as if I was Grand Dragon of the Klan. Really, really bad.
Yeah, people look for that shit, though, on Twitter.
Well, there was somebody...
They love to be awful.
There was somebody at the gig. It was one woman, who just, zeroed in on it and really let me have it. But one person, it's out of context, too. The people take it out of context, and they don't, they don't care what you meant by it. They just care that you said it.
I used to hate at gigs where I'd have a problem. Like, this is like, I'm on medication now. I'm a way calmer me. But I was very easily ticked off, slightly Nick DiPaolo-ish.
Yeah, on stage, I've seen you lose it.
Yeah,
man.
I would lose
You really lose it on not just hecklers, but people, well, mostly hecklers. But
I used to get really pissed. I would do that. This is a mistake for a comedian to do, to be like, can we get this guy out of here? If you do that, like, take it on yourself to kick him out.
Yeah.
I remember someone next to the person going, you're serious?
Yeah.
You can't kick a guy. Like, they were just like, they don't get comedy.
They get all mad, yeah.
Yeah. It's the Artie home phone. That's the first one during the podcast.
Yeah, I thought we weren't going to do something about that. Apparently not. So go ahead.
Yeah, so they people get really angry that you. Have you ever done that? Try to get someone out?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. They get mad that.
Why?
They think unless somebody shot somebody, they should be allowed to stay there. They don't realize how bad it affects the rest of the show.
Right. Oh yeah.
Motherfucker! It's a goddamn.
You can edit this.
We
can edit this in post.
No, we're not going to edit it. Hello?
Is Rhonda there?
Rhonda's not here. You got the wrong number for the 800th time. Go fuck yourself.
You got to leave that in. Rhonda?
We're not editing. We're not going to edit any of this. I don't want any of it edited. Hello? Fuck you, cunt. There's a woman who has my number. A woman who used to have my phone number. Fuck her. A woman who used to have my phone number skated out on like $500,000 in medical bills. $500,000 in medical bills. She skated out on it somehow. So she's got bill collectors, and now there's a criminal case against her. So I got lawyers calling here. But
can't you change the number?
Yeah, well, I guess I could, yeah.
You've changed your cell phone number 3,000 times. You could judge that, right?
That's what happened.
You got to change that.
Well, when you're...
Dan, come on. You're his guy, right?
Well,
you said you're his technical guy, right?
We just recently changed it.
We just changed the number,
and it still happens.
Yeah. We had an Italian guy who didn't pay his bills. The last number, and now we got a Hispanic woman.
Wait, really? That's not true.
You've had two different ones.
There was some.
How is that possible? How is it possible?
Because they're supposed
that's a coincidence.
No, because
I have two straight numbers and someone doesn't pay their bill.
You think you're the only person in America that it happens to? I'm getting phone calls on my new cell phone.
No, I don't think I'm the only person. I just think it's weird that two in a row it happened.
Well, when people don't want to pay their bills, they change their phone number.
Why do you even need a home phone?
You're missing my point.
Why do you need a home phone number?
I like having a home
Do
phone.
you?
I like having a landline.
You like to send faxes?
No. You're laughing at me?
Have you ever faxed something out?
No, I don't do any of that shit. I don't do email. It's 2015. I have yet to send or receive it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He does not want to repeat his order when he's ordering food in. He wants to just get through it once.
No, no one knows.
I don't get that.
No one knows
what are you saying.
When you order food on the phone,
don't get mad. Don't get mad at him for not knowing it. No one understood what you just said.
Can I do this?
No,
just unplug it. Yeah,
what Dan should have done before the podcast.
we did.
You're in
You had to
trouble,
use
Dan.
the phone.
Yeah, well, you can't. And so you forgot to do. He makes it
well,
my fault. I had to use my own phone.
The people that tweeted, I like the podcast, it just sounds like a bunch of guys hanging out, are going to really love this segment. We're just fucking doing nothing.
Yeah, well,
Here's us yelling about nothing.
Well, no, we're not yelling about nothing. We're yelling about the fucking phone.
As we're drinking Dan's cappuccino that was made in a wok.
Yeah.
It's a wok-sized mug.
Yeah. Well. Also, speaking of Clinton, Bill Clinton is named in this Jeffrey Epstein billionaire sex thing. Fucking, of course, this guy was getting broads for Prince Andrew, Jeffrey Epstein. Apparently, just some sort of pimp. They found his, they took his records, and in his book, he had like 16 phone numbers for Bill Clinton. Clinton is just fucking, just still a pussy hound. It hasn't stopped. And of course, this guy has Clinton's number. This guy gets pussy for the rich and famous. Prince Andrew, Buckingham Palace denying it, by the way, that Prince Andrew's getting laid. I mean, is he single?
I think
he was married to Fergie, right?
Yeah.
I think he's single now.
See the red-haired one?
No. She was. She had red hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean.
But
he has red hair.
There's a pretty damning picture of the two of them, that girl and the prince.
No, I believe it completely. I'm just saying they're denying it. Buckingham Palace denies everything in history and any scandal. From didn't everybody think that Jack the Ripper was the doctor, the royal doctor? That was the rumor, and of course they deny that. I choose to believe it.
I feel very dumb in this segment.
Why?
I don't know any of this shit.
What you never heard of this story about?
No, I don't know about Prince Andrew and
Do you think they had Diana killed?
What?
Princess Diana? Do you think that was the big rumor?
No, they never killed. What did they do? They paid the paparazzi to. I guess it's believable.
Well, it was a British car that she got killed in. They could have.
What does that mean?
They could have done something with the brakes.
It was a Mercedes.
Yeah, but it was owned by the British government.
It was a Mercedes in Paris. It was owned by Dodi Fayed. Or was that his name? Dodi Fayed. So they killed him too, that poor guy? No, because how do you know she's going to die in the accident? That's not a way to kill somebody.
All right.
You believe that they killed her?
I'm a conspiracy guy.
I know. What do you think about the Kennedy thing? We talked about this.
I think that someone else was involved.
But he was the lone shooter.
Yes, but I truly feel someone else.
I agree. How did somebody? Why does Jack Ruby kill him? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And there's that book, Case Closed, the guy wrote.
Posner.
The only thing he can't explain is why Jack Ruby kills him. But that's a pretty big fucking thing, Joe, your thoughts?
All I got
he's tuned out.
All I got is Dennis Miller in my head.
Unless we can talk about depression.
Hey, boss, Jack Ruby's here. He owns a local titty bar and he's got a handgun. Should I let him in? Yeah, let him in. Who the fuck were they turning away?
What do you mean? At the police station?
When Jack Ruby shows up.
And shoots
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Well, he snuck him.
Yeah.
He had a friend there.
Oh, he goes, who's working security? That's what it was. He goes, I haven't seen breaking security since the Lee Harvey Oswald prison transfer. Hey, boss, the guy who owns the local titty bars here. He's got a handgun. Should I let him in? Yeah.
It's one of the
fuck
few.
were they turning away?
It's one of the few flawed jokes I've heard him say. Because
it's
the guy,
flawed?
Well, because the guy
he snuck in.
It was a a corrupt guy. Was friends with him. Will let him in.
I didn't know.
I don't think they were checking the handgun. I don't think he told him. Cameron Diaz got married. Cameron Diaz, married this guy, Benji Madden, who was in some group. I don't know who any of these people are.
That looks like a definition of a joke I do about if you want to have a great life, marry someone beneath you in every category. Look at this. That guy is like a -6.
But what is he, a rock star? Like, why is she, she only fucks celebrities, this broad. Is he a rock star, Benji?
Yeah, he's a singer. The Madden Brothers.
The Madden.
Flip the page over. I think they have a little...
This guy...
I never heard of
this guy's career, so he opens for the Bacon Brothers.
John Madden.
It's terrible.
That's pretty good.
The Bacon Brothers.
That's a reference he'd make, the Bacon Brothers.
The Bacon Brother.
People don't realize Kevin Bacon and his brother have a country band that, probably aren't a big draw. And the joke is the Madden Brothers would open for the band.
Well, actually better than I realized.
It's not bad if you explain it. It's not bad if you think an
Dennis
hour.
Miller doesn't have to explain.
No, it's not bad if you think an hour and a half. That's what's amazing about Dennis Miller. He's one of my favorite comedians. He doesn't explain those references.
He shouldn't.
He shouldn't have to. You're right.
No,
but that's
leave. If you don't get it, leave.
But even if you don't get it, they're still funny.
It's still funny because he made it. For years I didn't realize who Momenchance was, but 10 years later after he does the bit, get a limbo stick moment, and I realized that 10 years later you're watching something and you're like, oh, that's who Momenchance.
You mean the abstract art Momenchance?
Yeah, they're like these
with the toilet paper and the only reason I know that is because when I was a kid, that was on off Broadway or Broadway, and the commercial was on every 5 fucking seconds on WPIX for Momenchance.
I found it fun, and you start laughing to yourself 10 years later. That's when you know a joke was good. You're like, when you learn the reference, you're like, motherfucker, that's hysterical. The
only problem I had with Dennis Miller's career is when he did Monday Night Football, to have a bet on the game. And, he's talking about the juxtaposition between two wide receivers, and he's making references to Sylvia Plath.
The juxtaposition.
Yeah, I haven't seen a guy that pissed off since Faulkner was a security guard, Cornell.
I'm going to jitade on the Coolsville.
We were just watching his special Black and White that's one of the best stand-ups ever. The one he did in Tempe, Arizona.
Oh, yeah, you love that one.
Shot
That's
Black
great.
and White.
Off-White album, the first one's really... I used to have that memorized, his first album.
Yeah.
The Off-White album.
Every one of his HBO specials, he's done like 10 of them. Every one of them are worth, at least a few minutes of brilliance are in there.
There's one that kind of sucks where he's performing behind a podium.
I saw that.
What is that?
But there's still great jokes. You know what he does at the end of that, which is very unlike him? He tells stories about Vegas. He tells stories about meeting Sinatra in Vegas.
I would love
that. People didn't like it because it wasn't Dennis Miller-esque, but it's good. It was really funny.
Yeah.
The story that someone on Twitter asked me to finish, which I never did because I was afraid to tell the ending, is about Sinatra. It's as good a segue as any. Norm and I, we hung out with Bob Uecker one night, and it was the funniest. We golfed with Bob Uecker in Phoenix, and we sat in a booth and listened to him do a minor league, a preseason baseball game between the Brewers and the Cubs. And so and then we had a steak dinner with him. So we were with him for like a full 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And Uecker is one of the funniest human beings ever. And he just cursed like a sailor. I never heard a human being curse more, which is odd because you're used to him on TV commercials, The Tonight Show, Mr. Belvedere, or, doing baseball games. So you don't hear him cursing.
Right.
And the guy who played Mr. Belvedere, when he found out that the guy might have been a gay guy, it was like, this fucking guy was taking it up the fucking Hershey Highway. I should have fucking known he was a great fucking cook, this fucker. I like the guy. I find out he's a fucking three-door fag.
Three-door fag?
I don't even he was making these old guy references like we didn't even know what he was talking about. I find out later the guy's like a three-door fag. Like a three-door fag. That's probably something that was made up in World War II or something. So he tells us these amazing stories. And Norm and I told the first part of this story on Howard, but we were afraid to tell the last part of the story. And I've never told the last part of this because we were afraid to, but now I figured a lot of the people are dead that are involved. And I mean, it's like, who cares really? So Ken Boyer was a third baseman. His brother was Cleet Boyer, played for the Cardinals. He was... Cleet was a third baseman.
Cleet Boyer?
Ken was what was Ken, an outfielder or something? Or Cleet Boyer was third baseman for the Yankees in the 60s. Great third baseman. Ken Boyer was his brother, and he played for the Cardinals. So he had a friendly rivalry with Don Drysdale, who was a Hall of Fame pitcher for the Dodgers. And so here's the part we told
and
you.
on a Brady Bunch episode.
That's right. Him and the Wes Anderson, he's the director. Wes somebody was their first baseman. Wes, the first baseman, and Drysdale were on the same. They were both Dodgers. They were on the same Brady Bunch episode.
They were?
Yeah.
Wes. Oh, he's looking it up.
By the way, Joe and I want to do this. Joe liked a sketch that I pitched at Mad TV that they never did. It was called How They Began, How the Great Directors Began. And I pitched where Scorsese had to start in television to get his career going, and they uncovered an episode of The Brady Bunch that Martin Scorsese directed, and it's
I love it.
Greg beats the shit out of Peter for using the word stinker, and he grabs him from behind and just starts kicking him in the face, and he's all bloody, and he's like, "Bobby, get the door!" And he says to Alice, I didn't mean to get blood on your floor. So we're going to work on that, mate. We might shoot it.
I think we could do an audio version for the podcast.
Alice, I didn't mean to get blood on your floor.
Do 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 do. That's just funny right there. Cursing over that music.
Bobby, get the fucking door. And you go from the Brady Bunch theme to Layla by Clapton. Yes. Sunshine on my love. That's when Bobby decided to steal the playbook from the other team.
I knew as a little kid I always wanted to be a Brady. I knew I wanted my dad to fuck somebody else so we could just have 3 hot sisters a bathroom away. That's kind of funny.
Dude,
just a bathroom away.
This idea we could riff on how the directors began. Scorsese directs an early Brady Bunch. Bobby, get the door.
Keep him here.
Ever since... No, that's like who's the guy, the kid that keeps beating up Peter keeps getting beat up by some kid at school. What's the kid's name?
Oh,
and then finally
I don't know.
He gets beat up by some kid at school. We'll call him Chad. And he's like,
yeah.
Keep him here. Keep that motherfucker here.
It's actually one of my favorite Saturday Night Live sketches when they would do, and I don't know if you ever saw this. Chris Farley plays Reuben Kincaid, and they do the Brady Bunch.
That sounds hilarious.
Brady Bunch against the Partridge Family in a battle of the bands.
First of all, Chris Farley playing Reuben Kincaid.
It's hilarious.
You got me right there.
It's hilarious because whenever the Partridge Family's playing, they just cut to Farley and he's making this face like they're so great.
That's right. That's all that guy ever did. And he had the mutton chops. By the way, this is a rumor. Dan, look this up. The guy who played Reuben Kincaid is John Madden's brother.
Is it really?
That's what I was told.
I think he just died.
Yeah.
Google that, Dan. See if that's true. The guy who played Reuben Kincaid...
Why don't you just leave your mic live all the time?
The guy who played... No, I prefer it off.
He likes it off.
I prefer it off. But
Dan just keeps reaching back to hit a button every time he wants to speak.
The guy who played Reuben Kincaid, his last name, if you look at the credits, is Madden, and there's a rumor that his last name... He's related... Brothers with John
Really?
Madden. Yeah.
They kind of
look like each other. It might be wrong.
Was it Wes Parker?
Wes Parker was the first baseman. Yeah. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be a Brady. Here's a story of a 12-year-old kid from East Brooklyn.
My dad was gay, but nobody knew it. It wasn't talked about back then. It was kept in the closet. Everything was a secret.
Every once in a while,
one day we all got perms.
Every once in a while, my father would fuck me in the ass, and I figured everybody gets fucked in the ass every once in a while.
He was an architect, so he said.
We were from the same part of Van Nuys as my mother's family. I mean, my mother, that was the most incredible thing. Now, we got to write the song. Here's the story, and it's all about him as a kid. Who started to run the numbers of the pizzeria, and that this crew would somehow become a family.
You're making my head hurt.
That's the way they became the Lucchese Bunch. The Lucchese Bunch. The Lucchese Bunch. That's the way. It became the Lucchese Bunch. The Gambino Bunch. It's the way we became the Gambino Bunch. All right, we got to work on that.
No relation. John Madden.
Yeah, but the guy's name is
relation.
Madden. Dave Madden.
It's probably spelled differently.
Okay, so here's Sinatra's story. So here's the story Euchre tells. He goes, so fucking Ken Boyer decides to fucking play a practical joke in Atlanta on fucking Don Drysdale. Now, Drysdale had this chick in Atlanta that was his. He had chicks all over the fucking country, but this was his number one fucking whore. This was his A-class whore that he fucking loved. So Drysdale is going to meet her, and he's getting dressed in the locker room to go meet this fucking broad. And all of a sudden, two detectives from the Atlanta Police Department come in, and they go, listen, you got to come with us. This chick is fucking underage. And he goes, you're kidding me. I didn't know that. She told me she was she's fucking underage. And they handcuff Drysdale, and he starts bitching like a little fucking broad. He's like, oh, come on. He's practically crying. You can't do this. Take him out to the fucking paddy wagon. And then they say, it's a joke. Ken Boyer's our friend. And he set it up. He told us to arrest you and tell you. So Drysdale's fucking livid. He doesn't think it's funny at all. He's fucking mad, and he vows he's going to get back at the fucking guy. So that's the story we told on Howard. So then we started to tell the last part, and then me and Norm looked at each other and said, maybe we shouldn't tell this because it gets crazy. Like, really.
But so you didn't tell it?
We didn't tell it. So now, but I've been thinking about it, and I don't see any reason not to tell it. The person who could get really mad and affect my life is dead. So
is that a spoiler if you say it?
It's Frank Sinatra.
Oh, okay.
So Drysdale played in L.A., so he was friends with Sinatra. Sinatra's a big Dodger fan. So this is how he gets Ken Boyer back, according to Euchre. Okay, so now he's mad at Boyer for playing that practical joke on him, that, the chick was underage.
Right.
So he goes, so they get to fucking Drysdale calls up Sinatra and says, we got to fucking do something to get this guy back. And Sinatra goes, I got just a thing to fucking do. So Ken Boyer gets done playing an away game in L.A., and he's walking out to his fucking car, and these two fucking goons get him, and they put a bag over his head, they tie him up, and they throw him in the fucking trunk of a car. They drive him out to the fucking desert. And they take him out of the car, and they take the bag off his fucking head, and they put guns to his fucking head, and they say, who do you think you're fucking with? You can't fuck with us. He's like, what are you talking about? He goes, you're fucking dead. You're a dead man. We're going to shoot you, and we're going to bury you out here in the desert. They do this for like a half a fucking hour. And Boyer's like crying. He's shitting his pants for a half a fucking hour they do this. And then out of nowhere they go, we're just fucking kidding you. This is a fucking Drysdale asked us to do this as a joke. Sinatra set it up. It's the scary. Like Euchre is going, like Euchre's laughing. He's telling us, me and Norm look at each other. That's the scariest thing we've ever heard in our life. The way Sinatra got back at him was having him kidnapped by two guys who drive him out to the fucking desert and put a gun to his head.
Oh my God!
Like for half an hour, they say they're going to kill him. and me and Norm were kind of shocked, and Euchre keeps going like. What the fuck? You guys don't think that's fucking funny? It's a different generation.
Did Euchre think it wasn't crazy? He thought it was fine?
Euchre thought it was hilarious. Euchre thought it was like the funniest joke he ever heard. He goes, you guys are fucking way too uptight. You guys are three-door fags. That guy Belvedere sat on his own balls during a read-through. That was a rumor that Mr. Belvedere, the guy who played Mr. Belvedere, sat on his nuts during a read-through and like yelled out like he was like, that fucking guy serves him fucking right, that three-door fag. God. Really, like what a great storyteller, but We were afraid to tell it because Sinatra might have still been alive when we were talking about it.
Nancy Sinatra might get pissed at you for that.
I mean, but look, it's a joke. No one gets hurt.
I'm kidding.
No, you're right.
You're fine.
You're right. What were you going to say, Dan?
Frank Sinatra was the man who discovered Dave Madden. He was doing a comedy and magic act.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Really?
Yep.
The guy who played Reuben Kincaid?
Reuben Kincaid.
Discovered him.
And got him on the Ed Sullivan Show. Wow. Ed Sullivan Show.
Ed Sullivan. you merged Ed Sullivan and television. Television. No, well, that's and so Madden was like a stand-up comic.
He was. He did a magic act and comedy.
I'm doing a bad segue, but there was speaking of shitty practical jokes. There was a comic in Boston that was known for sending newer comics to gigs that didn't exist and making them drive really far. Is that like the meanest thing ever?
It's funny, though.
I still remember his name because I almost got in a fight with him.
Did he do it to you?
No, he never did it to me.
Yeah.
But him and I were doing a gig. This is back when Nick's in Boston was like a franchise.
Yeah.
There was like 30 of them.
It was a big deal.
I was sharing.
That was before the Comedy Connection. Nick's, right? Yeah.
I was sharing like a condo with Dave Attell.
Right.
I remember it.
Right.
Dave Attell wasn't even a big comic yet. And him and I were doing the same kind of gigs.
But Attell was a respected guy amongst comedians.
Yeah. I mean, I remember sitting in the comedy condo with Dave Attell, watching Letterman, going, dude, when are you doing Letterman? And he's like, oh, I'm so far away from that. Like, he was like really negative on his own stand-up.
Well, he always is.
Yeah.
Every funny guy I know is.
And I was like, dude, what are you, crazy? You'll be on there in like a week. You're great. Yeah. He's like, eh. But I still remember this comic was fun. I shouldn't say a name. It's not worth it.
Wait.
Some Italian Boston comic was known for this shitty practical joke that he would do. And he did a shitty thing.
Was his name Chapalo? Rhyme with Chapalo?
It wasn't Nick DiPaolo.
I know, okay. Nick wouldn't waste his time with it.
So this guy's more Italian than any of us. So he basically was headlining, and I was going on before him. I'm supposed to do 30. I come off stage. He's got his watch, and he sticks it in my face, and he goes, what's that shit? You went over your time, and I had a stopwatch in my pocket with my correct time.
I hate that shit.
And I go, dude, I'm fucking 2 under. I'm 28. You're saying I went over? I'm 2 under. No. And he goes, are you calling me a liar? And I had been on the road for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm calling you a liar.
And I go, dude, I don't know what I'm calling you. I didn't do fucking over. And that was me before Celexa.
No, I know.
And I go, what? And he goes, do you want to step outside like it was 1930? He goes, do you want to step outside? And I just looked at him. I went, yes.
Right.
Let's fucking go. Fuck you. I didn't go over. Fuck you.
That is infuriating, though, if you didn't go over.
Yeah, it was infuriating.
If you went over by 2 minutes, shut the fuck up. Who are you, the I went over police, asshole?
And he was like, you want to go outside? I go, yes, I do. And we both start walking towards the door. And I'm getting that, that feeling you get in your stomach when you're about to get in a fight. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm getting in a fight. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they go, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your headliner. And they introduce him, and he just runs away from me. And now I'm like, do I wait 45 minutes to fight this motherfucker, or do I drive back to Jersey? So I got my car and left, and we never resolved it. And then I saw him like 8 years later, and we just didn't say anything.
It's funny if 8 years later you just started fighting.
I'm so glad he never made it big as a comedian. Fucking hate this guy.
You got to tell me his name.
I'll tell you his name off the air.
But
I always heard the mob was involved in his career.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you don't want to say.
I don't want to fucking say his name.
Maybe I don't want to know his name, even off the air. We really got to work on Scorsese directing the Brady Bunch.
Let's do that.
I like that. I always wanted to be a Brady.
Well,
we got to write the song. The song about.
I was thinking your breaks that you're doing on the podcast would be great for little like sketches to play, audio sketches. Quick ones.
Yeah.
There's one.
That's funny.
We can't use the real music.
They didn't want to do that. That was another one, and the other one I did for my audition for Mad TV. I did Rush Limbaugh singing Rush songs. They didn't want to do that either.
That's
It was like
obscure as hell.
Today's Tom Sawyer. He gets high on you with the Spacey invades. He gets by on you. Living in the limelight. Yee. I love it. I remember Quincy Jones laughing at that, like he was in the audition, the screen test, laughing like I would go, living in the limelight. He goes, ha ha, motherfucker.
Really? He doesn't look like a guy that would know Rush.
Dude, he knows everything about music.
Genius.
Musical genius. He was, and he was a good man. But we got that is funny. I always wanted to be a Brady.
I think we need to do the Harry Callis and Harry Carey again. People loved that when we did that.
Well, let's just replay the other one. Don't we still have the tape? Who feels like doing it again?
Well, that's true. I didn't know we still had it.
The other, well, I don't know. We probably don't still have it. It's owned by DirecTV. It'll do nothing over there.
We need a sketch for Gandolfini.
Brock is doing it right now.
Yeah. There's an obscure reference, Brock. But anyway, all right. So, anyway, somebody on Twitter requested that end of that Sinatra story.
It's fucking hilarious.
Well, here we go. I just want to say my lock of the week is again, and I thought about this. I thought about the Dallas game, but I still like Seattle given, it's now 11. It went down half a point. It was 11.5. Seattle giving 11 to Carolina. I think Seattle is going to destroy Carolina. Carolina doesn't belong in the playoffs. They didn't belong in that game last week. They got lucky last week. Cam Newton is flimsy, and I don't trust anyone who goes into a press conference with no socks and loafers on and wearing like clam digger pants.
What's the lowest bet I can send to your guy in Vegas and him not laugh?
Don't embarrass me.
How much does it have to be?
I'll just hold the bet. Well, I'm personally putting $5 on Seattle. That's 5,000.
5,000 on Seattle.
Yeah. Well, anything under $1,000 would be embarrassing.
Would it really?
Yeah.
$80.
I don't want to get the kid out of bed for $80.
I'm kidding.
I'll just hold the bet.
$1,000.
I'll just beat a book. You just bet with me.
I'm one of these psychos that I'm like, well, if I lose the 1,000, then I just bet 2,000 on the next game, and then if I lose that, I bet 4,000 on the next.
Called the
Does it ever just? This is how.
Are you asking me if I relate?
This
to
is
that?
how dumb of a gambler.
It's called chasing it. It's called chasing.
But I used to do that with roulette back when I gambled. Yeah. I would just sit at a table. This is the dumbest thing. Guys that worked like as roulette dealers would tell me is the dumbest move ever. But I would
There's no such thing as a roulette dealer.
What's the guy called who throws the ball?
It's not a dealer.
They're all whatever their job is. The guys that are hired,
roulette guys
they do all the games.
Roulette guy's a dealer's getting a Coke.
They're all dealers,
right.
Aren't they?
No.
Yeah, they are.
Cards have dealers. Roulette's not a dealer.
I know that, but whatever. So I would go to the casino and find a spot where I could see a lot of the different, what is it called? The thing that shows what has came out on the board in roulette?
I don't know.
Well, I would get in a spot in the casino where I could see like 4 of them all at once.
I think they just call it the board. Yeah,
the board? Yeah. And I would wait for 4 of one color, and then I would go and just bet on the opposite.
Because you figure the odds are it'll, yeah.
But then guys would tell me that's the stupidest bet ever because 15, 20 in a row have come out in one color.
It's not a smart bet. I understand your line of thinking, and I've done stupider shit.
Yeah.
Way stupider shit, but it is a dumb bet.
It seemed to work, and then if I didn't, I would double it up and go again.
You know what I like in that, too? Me and Norm used to do this as well, and Norm turned me onto this system, which didn't fucking work. We used to bet, like, there was 140 golfers in the field at, like, the U.S. Open.
Right.
And when Tiger Woods was in his prime, like, winning a lot, you got great odds if you bet everyone else. So literally, we would make a bet where all had to happen was Tiger Woods had to lose. As long as any of the other 140 people won, you won.
You won.
It's right.
What was that bet called? It was only for when Tiger was playing?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean,
against Tiger.
You would just bet against Tiger, and you had the other 140 guys.
Jesus.
But what makes it similar to what you're talking about as a sucker bet, and it's not nearly as good a bet as you think it is in the U.S. Open, there's 140 guys qualify. There's really only 4 or 5 guys with a chance at winning. So it's really like you're betting 5 guys.
Right, because you're saying number 99 on that board can never win the U.S. Open.
Right, they qualify, but they can never win. It'd be a miracle. So you're not betting 140 guys. You're betting really 5 guys.
That is the one sport that you don't see a complete long shot win it. That never happens. They might come close once in a while.
Once in a great while. But here's why. It's such a sport of insane skill, and it's so long. You play a bunch of rounds.
You're playing for 4 days.
Eventually, the talent will take over.
Yes.
Like the fluke will happen, but
one day he might play great.
It's so long.
Yeah, I could shoot 9 under one day, and I'm shooting 30 over day 2.
But my lock is still, guys, it's now 11 in the paper. I don't know what Mandalay Bay. The guy calls me Thursday with the official line, and I start thinking about it. I put it in about an hour before.
I'm going to ask my wife if I can bet 1,000 on that lock.
All right. I'll let you. You lose 1,100 with the VIG,
Right.
All right.
You told me it was like
okay. So 1,000. It's
the juice. Is it called the juice?
Yeah, the VIG or the juice.
A friend of mine used to think that was the Jews, not the juice. The Jews.
They have a lot to do with it too. No, but it's $100 for every 1,000. So just let me know. But again, giving 11, it changed in the paper by half a point. It was 11.5, which I don't love. I thought it'd go the other way, but I like it because I like the bet. But I don't know what's going on. Does somebody know something I don't? Everybody, look at me. Look at how I dress. Everybody
Ron Rivera's house burned down.
Yeah? Oh, that's right. Maybe that was done by one of the Jews.
Who's Ron Rivera?
He's the coach of the Panthers.
I'm an idiot. I don't know.
Well, listen.
I barely know who the
No one
Eagles
should
coach
know
is.
that. The point is, the Panthers shouldn't be in it. No one should know who the fucking coach is because they shouldn't be in the fucking game. They're under 500. They got to the playoffs, 7 and 8. Chris Christie, why don't you become a Panther fan? You
Eagles
dick face.
10-6, nothing.
What about the Ravens at Pats?
What's the line? I didn't even look at it. Maybe I should. Maybe I'll change my 5-star lock of the week. No, because I'm going to like the Pats, and I refuse to bet on Tom Brady. Enough of him.
That's probably. I'm going to guess 4.5.
Yeah, I don't know how to read those.
What do you mean?
It doesn't say it when you.
It's not odds. It's not odds. It's point spread. It's not the odds.
Not the odds of it.
Give me
It's
the
how
paper.
many points you get.
Give me the paper. Oh wait,
Where's the paper? You got it.
I'm going to go get the papers. Get the paper.
The paper.
I like Tom Brady. I think the Pats might have a shot because he's had a shot at this a couple times. His next win is his 4th ring, and that puts him in Montana Bradshaw territory. So I really think he's got a lot of incentive to get this. But I don't want to bet on the fucking Pats. Patriots. What did you say it was going to be?
I guessed 4.5.
Pats given 4.5 because it's in New England.
Yeah.
Dan, you want to? Well, you don't care. You don't know. It's not odds. They're giving a touchdown. It's 7.
7.
Want to guess the under over?
I would take Ravens in 7 on that game.
All right. See, but that's the thing. I would take that maybe. I would agree with you. And the under over is 48.5. I don't love anything as much as I love the Seahawks. I love the Seahawks and the Packers giving 6 to the Cowboys in Green Bay.
I'm taking Packers on that.
Yeah, I do too. Because I think the Cowboys are going to have to score 70 points to beat them in Green Bay. It's at Lambeau. But I'm still 5-star lock of the week. Seattle giving 11. You heard it here. And
Colts,
again,
Broncos?
Colts, Broncos.
Colts at Broncos.
Let's hear it. Colts at Broncos. The Colts look pretty good, but I think the Broncos they always beat them at this point in sports.
In Denver, again, you got Peyton, and they
8 points.
With Peyton against Andrew Luck, the under over is 54. They anticipate a lot of scoring. Broncos giving 7.
I was about to say 8.
Yeah, Broncos are giving 7. Seahawks giving 11, and the under over is only 40.5, which means they don't think the Panthers are going to score shit. That's what that means.
I've never bet an over/under. That's too hard to guess.
They're more fun.
Are they?
They're the most fun. You know what's great about betting the over? Once you hit it, you can't lose. It's just
true.
party time.
You can't fuck up.
You can't lose.
It's just party time.
If you win, you win. If you lose, you still win. There's no way you could lose. And you do it the way you want it to without help from Tommy Como. Raging Bull.
How did I not know?
All right.
I didn't get either of my impressions in the show, but it's good.
Well,
they'll be coming.
It's a tease. It's a tease.
tease.
I want to thank Chicago Dan Filato, Joe Matarese, episode 2 in the books. I want to thank again the fans. I love you guys. My show, January 17th, by the way, our show is sold out already.
I read that on your Twitter.
It already got sold out. So thanks, guys. That's pretty cool. Hardly any promotion. No promotion. And it's sold out. That's like 2,000 seats. So what I'm plugging now is Valentine's Day, I'm at the Borgata. February 14th, I'm at the Borgata in Atlantic City. And then the following weekend, the weekend of February 21st, I'm at a place called Cobb's in San Francisco. And I just did this yesterday on Twitter. There's a kid from Toronto who's a fan of mine who listens to the show. And this got to me. I have a soft spot in my heart for this because my father needed one. His niece apparently needs a van with wheelchair access, a wheelchair van, and he wants to buy one. And I set up where I'm going to do a gig to help him get the van. And it's going to be up in Toronto. We don't have a date yet, but if you're in Toronto, keep an eye out for that because I'm going to do a free gig up there and help him get his niece a van. This guy's name is Sean something on Twitter. Big Michael Jordan fan.
Named his kid after Michael Jordan.
Did he really?
That's right. So anyway, we're going to help Sean out.
Juanita,
stay tuned in Toronto. Juanita's the wife. Boy, Dan with these references and jokes. No, so we're going to stay tuned in Toronto for that show because it's for an important cause. But again, Borgata, Valentine's Day, and I'll be at the Cobb's in San Francisco the weekend of February 21st. Joe, what do you got?
Well, I will also be at the February 14th show at Borgata.
That's right. There you go. No.
This is the most editing we had to do on the show yesterday, was the pauses in between your spots.
My spots?
Yeah, in your
No, I actually...
I like the pause,
but
don't do that.
Hold on.
I prepared today. I
prepared.
I wrote them down in advance. I like that.
I'm going to be, and then there was about two.
But dude, honestly, don't do that without telling me because those pauses are funny.
He likes the pause. He likes my brain sound
when all
ticking.
when all of us do it.
So basically, I like that I plugged my Twitter yesterday. I got a lot of new people checking out my Twitter from just yesterday.
Really? A lot of people signed up yesterday. A lot of people liked the show and signed up because they heard the free show. So thank you. That's good.
Yeah. So keep following me on Twitter at the Joe Matarese. Watch my web series, but it's also a podcast, Fixing Joe, which you can download every Thursday on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast. Just look up Fixing Joe and come and see me live. Actually, I should just promote Jersey shows on this. I feel like we probably have a lot of Jersey listeners.
You know what? We were watching when the people signed up initially. You see where they're from?
Yeah.
Dude, we got Kentucky, North Carolina. It's crazy.
You don't have it's saturated spot in certain areas.
From the first 50 people, 4 were from Canada.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So just plug whatever you got.
All right. Well, then the plug is January 23rd and 24th. I will be at Bust a Gut Comedy Club in Toms River, New Jersey.
Love it.
I love the sound of that. I think it's a new club that just opened.
I know Toms River well.
So do I. Used to have a girlfriend from there for 8 years. So I'm sure the Nassau family, I just plugged them. They'll be out.
Yeah.
The big Toms River shows off of Hooper Avenue.
I know. Yeah, Hooper Ave. I know it well. And well, that's it, guys. Episode 2 in the books. Love you all. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same channel. We're going to try to get this up, like I said, every day at about 6, right? Okay.
Yes.
And thanks, Dan. Thanks, Joe. And later in the week, we got a lot of good comments coming in to get interviewed. And that's it. This is Artie Lang for the Artie.Quitter Podcast. Take care, brush your hair. And I always wanted to be a Brady. We got to do that. Later.